Meanwhile, no matter, like I said, whatever you want to do is limitless. Anything you actually want to do, you can as well find. You can actually know the position. Like you said, you want to know the position of an item in an array, right? Now that is not a very smart way to look for something. Why? Because you want to search for, let's say, Richard, okay? When you are searching for capital ROICHARD, it is not the same thing as when you are searching for small letter r, small letter ROICHARD. Are we together? So why? Because these things are actually case sensitive. So it is best that you search based on number, something that is unique. Are we together? You know that 0 is 0 and 1 is 1. All right? So that is that. Okay, fine and good. Now, quickly, I will also introduce us to what is called objects. All right? Now, in JavaScript, and also when we start learning Python, there's what we call objects. All right? And class. So, an object is an instance of a class. Now, properties of an object is, well, there's what we call attributes and methods. Okay? We haven't even started learning, or we've not learned functions. So, we are not going to explore objects in details. Because before you learn object, you have to learn function. All right? Why? Because you cannot mention a method without mentioning a function. Are we together? I said objects have there are two things about an object. An object has an attribute and also a method, okay? An attribute is just like a variable in an object, whereas a method is a function declared inside an object. Are we together? So here we said let person equal to name, Jane, and age, 25. Now, this thing is just like we want to store the attributes of someone. So let's try that out. Let's say what are some of the attributes of, okay, how would I put it now? Let's say Android, an Android phone now. What are some of the attributes of an Android phone? What? Now let's just talk about the physical attributes first. Okay, no, calm down. Let's say, what are the attributes of an iPhone? iPhone X. Why is iPhone X better than... I want to use something that is quite common. Camera quality, Abby. Okay, calm down. Wait. No, let's use TV. Okay. Now we have different types of television, right? More like a plasma TV now. Okay. So, what are the qualities of this plasma TV that you are seeing here? If you want to describe this plasma TV. Okay, you talk about the display, right? Talk about the width, talk about the height, right? Talk about the screen. I think it has a glossy screen. That's what we call glossy screen. So the screen is shiny. You understand? At least we can start with the width, the height, the name of this plasma TV. Okay? So this is an object. That plasma TV you are seeing there is an object. An object has different attributes. Are we together? All right. So let's declare. Let's say const plasma underscore TV is equal to an object. Now we have name. Okay. What is the name of this plasma TV? Let's say Samsung. All right. Are we together? I'll use a comma and I'll say width. let's give it a width of let's make it this thing a text. Let's say 32 inches. Let's say 32 inch. All right. Let's give it a height of. I'm sure that thing is not 32 inch TV. It should be more like a 64. Let's say 15 inch. And color. Let's give it a color of black, right? We can say screen type. Can say screen type of glossy. All right. So I just succeeded in declaring an object, plasma TV. Are we together? Now, if you notice, there is a change in syntax. When we declared array, we use square brackets, right? We use square brackets. Am I together? Are we together? All right. So when we declared an array, we use square bracket. But here I am using a curly braces. Okay. Remember I told us syntax and semantics. If you want to declare an object in JavaScript, you have to use curly braces. All right. You have to use opening and closing curly braces. And now, when you are declaring an attribute, you start by declaring the name of that attribute, followed by a colon, space, followed by the value. Are we together? Now, I did not do name equal to Samsung. Are you noticing something? Remember I told you syntax and semantics. If you are learning English language, you don't just learn it the way you want. You have to learn it the way they've said it should be learned. Are we together? So this is actually how it works. Now, for me to be able to find the value of this attribute, we use a dot notation. Okay? Just like where I did dot length. You understand? So when I do plasma TV dot name, it will give me Samsung. All right, so let's do that. If we do plasma TV dot name, it gives me Samsung. Did you see? If I do plasma TV dot width, it gives me 64 inch. Plasma TV plasma underscore TV dot height to return the value. Did you see? Did you see now? So this is how you declare an object. An object is an instance of a class, and an object actually has attributes and methods. Yes, those variables that I declared there are the attributes. You cannot learn a method when you've not learned a function. Okay? Yeah, background hyphen color. Yeah. Let's try. Let's see if we can declare a variable using hyphen, if it will work. Because I think that's what you are asking, right? Okay, let's see. To not work. Did you see? You don't use hyphen when declaring a variable. It is better you use underscore, all right? Now, there's what we call snake casing, camel casing, at least sentence casing, okay? Sentence casing is when you are just typing things in lowercase, all right? Camel casing is, look at, I did const plasma underscore TV, right? Plasma is a different word on its own. TV is a different word on its own, okay? If it were a camel casing, I'll do it like this. Camel casing, the start of the next word, the start of the next independent word has to be what? Uppercase. Do you understand? Why? Because the idea behind it is when you look at a camel is usually something like this. It goes like this when you are drawing a camel. You get? So if you are using a word, you don't, like if it's camel casing you want to use, let's say plasma television, there are two words, right? You bring them together. Now, plasma will start with a lower case. Then television, which is a different word, will start with capital T. Are we together? So that's how you do in camel casing. You don't use hyphen. You don't use space in declaring variable. You cannot do... Huh? What's that? Yes, you can actually use it now because it's a valid way of declaring a variable in JavaScript. Are we together? Camel casing. Yes. It will, as long as the attributes are the same, it will give us the same thing. If I do plasma TV, you can see that I have a whole range of stuff. Like I can do screen type, and it will give me closing. Do you see? All right. Now, just have it at the back of your mind that an object is an instance of a class. An object has attributes and methods. Okay? Another way of doing it is we can do something like const dog. All right? And let's say family. Dog belongs. Okay, did you see what happened? Did anybody notice something? I typed equal to here and immediately I deleted it. Why? Because I recognize that I'm inside. Yes, I'm actually declaring an object. I'm not just declaring a variable. So family, I could say cat family. All right, and sound. Woof. And what other attribute of a dog can I actually include here? What's that? Legs. Okay. Dog is not a mama. Is dog a mama? It's a mama, right? It actually gives birth. Okay. So species. How will I qualify mama? I'll just put it mama. Alright, so let me just do it that way. So I can actually do dog.family. It will tell me cat family, dog.sound. To tell me wolf, dog.species. And it will tell me mama. So a dog is an object. Okay, and these are some of the attributes of a dog. Family, sound, species. So that's the idea about attributes. So we've actually covered a whole lot of stuff. Okay, and we have functions and conditionals. I think that's where and loops. Okay. So we are going to look at some operators in JavaScript. We have arithmetic operators. We have comparison operators. And we have logical operators. So let's start with arithmetic operators. All right. So are we together? Let's say let sum equal to 25 plus 30. What is this supposed to give us? 55, right? If I do console.log sum, it's meant to give me 55, right? I just used an arithmetic operator, okay, which is the plus. When I do let sum equal to 25 minus 30, sum will give me minus 5, okay? Now, if I do let even number equal to 4 modulus 2. If I print even number, it prints out 0 for me, meaning that it is true. Now, this percent sign means a modulus sign. It is used for a modulus. Have we ever heard of a modulus operator before? Modulus. Okay. Now, how do you know that a number is an even number? When the remainder is equal to 0, right? When a number can be divided by 2 without a remainder, it becomes an even number. Is it not it? Exactly. Now, I could give you a task. I could say, look through an array and print out all the items that are at even positions. I could say, look through an array, print out all the items in that array that are at even positions. So one of the ways you determine even positioning is by dividing by 2, right? So basically, what I just mean is, when I do 4 modulus 2, I'm doing 4 divided by 2 is 2 remainder 0. So it will give me the remainder, okay, and not the actual value when it divides, okay. You have should they have divisor and is it divisor and divisor or whatever, and dividend, I don't know. But so if I do let results equal to 4 divided by 2, did you see what I used as my division sign? That's /, and I do results, it will give me 2. Okay, so we've explored plus, minus, division, modulus. If I do let results equal to 4 times 2, results, it gives me 8. So this star is multiplication operator. Star is a multiplication operator. Now watch, if I do let results equal to 4 * 2 and I print results, look at what it gives me. 16. Who can tell me the meaning of that * there? 4 times what? No. 4 times 2 times 2 will it give you 16? 4 raised to power 2. It actually means 4 times 4. 4 times itself twice. So it is raised to power. Okay? It's equivalent to doing this math.po 4,2. Now this is, I'm using a built-in JavaScript method known as math to calculate the power of a number. If I do math.power 4,3, this is 4 raised to power 3. That's 4 times 4 times 4, which will give me what? 64. All right. But then if you just want to do an outright raised to power, you just, okay, yeah, it's the same thing. When I do 4 raised to power 3, it gives me 64. Did you see that? All right. So that's that for the arithmetic operators. The next operators are comparison operators. All right. So we have something here. We have something like let results equal to, now we want to verify, is 10 equal to 30? True or false? Is 10 equal to 30? Did you see? It gave us false. So that is comparison what? Operator. All right. So you can, okay, let's do another one. Let result equal to, let's say 20 greater than 100. Is this condition, is this statement true? Is 20 greater than 100? Huh? False, right? So But when we do let results equal to 100 greater than 20, it should print out what? Result gives us true. Okay, so that's called comparison operator. So we could as well do let result equal to 20 less than or equal to 100. This statement, is it true or false? What will it print out, true or false? So what did you say? What will it print out? True, right? So if you say true, let me see your hand. If you say false, let me see your hand. Everybody did not vote. If you said true, let me see your hand. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you say false, let me see your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, this is where logical thinking comes into play. Now, there's what we call or and and. Alright? When you are talking about an or statement, or means either of the two. Do you get? Whereas and means both of the two. So this operation I did here means is 20 less than or equal to 100. So will it evaluate to true or false? What did you say? Eh? The answer is true. Why? Because the first conditional statement says is 20 less than 100. Yes. Exactly. The first conditional statement has already made it true. Alright? Now, what happened? It said, okay, now there's a syntax error. Who can tell me where the syntax error is coming from? Okay, there is no equality sign. There's no assignment operator. Alright, so let's do that again. Let's do equal to. So results gives us what? True. Exactly. So you can see. Whereas if I if I do let result equal to 10 greater than or equal to 100. Now, which one will this one be? True or false? False, because the first condition does not meet it. Neither does the second condition meet it. So if I do result, it gives me false. So that's the thing about this thing as comparison operators. All right. Which one? You see this one? All right. So now it says strict comparison. It checks both the value and the type. Okay. It checks both the value and the type. Let me give you an instance now. I'm going to do let num equal to 10. Okay, no. Let me do it this way. How do I do this stuff? Okay, yeah. Let num equal to 10. Okay. And let num1 equal to 10. Okay, now if I do result, let result equal to num equals to num underscore 1. This thing will print out true for me. If I do results, oh, false. It gave me false. Why? Because they don't have the same value. Both of them are actually a string. Okay, look at what I wanted to do. If I do type of fine, this is what I intended. Like, they have the same type of string. They are both string. Okay? Both of them are string, actually. But now, what I'm trying to explain this triple equality sign. It checks both the value and the type. Are we together? Let's say, okay, let's say, now watch, let's say, let norm equal to 10, okay? This is 10, right? And let norm 1 equal to 10.0. 10 and 10.0, sure they are the same thing. Okay, so let's check the results. Now it gave me true, okay? But let me use triple equal to, and let's see if it will also give me true. It also gave me true. I was hoping for it to distinguish between 10 as an integer and 10.0 as a float. So since it did not do that, let's get a good illustration for that. Let's get a good illustration for that should illustrate this idea of triple equal to. That's if we could, I don't think my data is not working well here. Meanwhile, I don't know if it will give us something. There is no network inside here. I would have loved us to find out. So probably you should find it out yourself for a good illustration to distinguish between the triple equal to and double equal to. But basically what it does is it checks both the type and the value. That's what it does. I thought I would have gotten a good example to illustrate that. But there is no good network here. Alright, so another thing we have to look at, another operator is the logical operators. The AND, the OR, and the NOT. Alright, so we have let comparison equal to X greater than Y. Now it will return, okay, cool. Let's do this. Alright, something, it says when using triple equals for JavaScript equality testing, everything is as is. Nothing gets converted before being evaluated. Let me see if I'll get an example for that. Okay, it doesn't really give me any example, but we can always go ahead and find out for ourselves. All right, so now let's do something. Let X equal to, and mind you, you cannot do X equal to 10. Okay, like you have to use the keyword let. Okay, when you want to declare a variable in JavaScript. All right, because if you don't do that, at some point it will tell you that this variable has not been declared before. You get? So declaring, when you declare a variable, you are using the keyword let or const. So let's say let X equal to 20 and let Y equal to 30 and let result equal to X greater than Y. Now this thing is comparing if X is greater than Y, right? Result false. X is not greater than Y. Okay, yeah, I think we've done this comparison of operators now. What we wanted to do is logical operators, right? Now let's do something. Let result equal to, now let's do something. X greater than Y, or x equal to 10. Look at, okay, let me do 20 rather. I have used a logical operator here, the or logical operator. What this thing is doing is it's evaluating if x is greater than y or x is equal to 20. In each of these cases, what do you think it will return? This is an or. In JavaScript, it's used for or, logical operator. Or? OR. Okay. So we are checking, is x greater than y? Or is x equal to 20? Which of these conditions evaluates to true? Is it might or is? It's true. So is it supposed to return true or false? From this expression, which of these conditions evaluates to true in this expression? X is equal to 20. So if we print out the result, what should we have? True, which is 20. So result is actually 20, right? So result is true. So let's assume we do let result equal to x less than y and x equal to 10. Let's print out the result. Now look at what happened here. X is less than y, right? X is less than y, and we are also saying x equal to 10. Okay, now the best way to illustrate these logical operators is when we are using a conditional statement like if. Okay, let me quickly give us an example now. I use less than or equal to. Less than equal to. You get? Less than equal to. That was the syntax I used. I did something like this. That was what I did. Okay? But here I'm trying to explain this idea of logical operators. Okay, look at the example they gave here. Now, okay, this is still comparison operators. I wanted to look at the logical operators. It's not, the instance is not here, but I said one way to quickly illustrate these logical operators is using a control statement known as the if. Okay, so I'm going to teach us the control statement now, which should have we should have looked at functions before the if else. Okay, this is what I'm trying to look at. This is where I am in number 5, where we have if else statement. All right, and then we can now look at the loops. So let me illustrate these logical operators now. Originally we have that x x is 10. Okay, no, x is 20 and y is 30, right? Let's print out x to know the value. Oh, x is 10, y is what? 30. Look at how you declare an if statement. If x equal to, are we together? 10 or y equal to 30. Console.log true, else console.log false. Now I am checking if x is equal to 10 or y is equal to 30. Now the fact is that both of them will evaluate to true, is it not? Because both conditions are true. It printed out true. Now let's do something. let's say if x is less than 10 or y equal to 30, will it print out true or false? It will print out true. Why? Because y is still 30, right? Nice. So if we do this is why, because we are using the or logical operator. Okay, now if we use and, this is when it will give us false. Why? Because x is not actually less than 10, rather x is equal to 10. All right, so if we hit here, did you see that it went to false? Do you get the point now? Exactly. So now if I do less than or equal to 10, it will give me true. Why? Because in this place here we are checking is x less than or equal to 10 and is y equal to 30. You get the point? So this particular highlighted portion now is evaluating for two things. It's evaluating for two things before it jumps over to the next one where we have the and. All right, so this should give me true. Why? Because at least x is less than, x is actually equal to 10. All right, so this is where I mentioned logical thinking. This is where logic comes in. You have to reason well before you choose your answer. So but if I did greater than now, it will still give me true because x is still equal to 10. But if I say, let's say 20, x is neither greater than 20 nor is x equal to 20, right? So it will give me false. Are we together? So you can now see how the or and works. In or, either of the expressions, if one is correct, to return that is correct. But in and, both needs to be correct. All right? So that's just the idea behind it. Now, there's another one known as not. Not. Look at now. What? If we want to negate this expression, we can do that by putting a not operator. And that not simply means inverse. How? Normally, if our answer was supposed to be true, it will give us false. Are we together? Here, x is neither greater than 20, nor is x equal to 20. So, normally this expression gave us false, right? This expression gave us false. But because we are using this operator, this hyphen operator, it will give us true. It will negate the result of our expression. Are we confused? Watch. Look at what I'm saying. This is what we had before. And from what we analyzed, x is neither greater than 20 nor is x equal to 20, right? So this should give us false. Abi? So if I introduce the negation, that's the not operator, it will simply it will reverse my result. So if it was supposed to be false, it gives me true. If it was supposed to be true, it gives me what? False. So it gives me true. The inverse of the actual result. The inverse of the actual result. That's what the exclamation mark does. It's called the not operator. Alright. So quickly we'll go into, I've taught us conditional. That's how you declare a condition, if else statement. That is exactly how you declare an if else statement. Now quickly we are going to, in the next 15 minutes, we are going to look at functions and loops, and we'll be done for today's class. So you can see that you are gradually mastering JavaScript already. Yeah, you are gradually mastering JavaScript already. But like I said, the only way you can actually learn it is by practicing it. This is not, this is not our conventional academic system where they test you based on your head knowledge. This one, they are testing you based on understanding and your results. not basically based on what you can remember. Are we together? But what you can also remember helps you too to be able to produce results, because if you don't, you can't most times if you can't really, okay, someone like me, I don't remember what I don't understand. Like, I find it difficult to cram. I cannot cram something. If no matter how short it is, if it's something I don't understand, it can't stay in my head. That's just the way it is. But there are people that are good at cramming things, whether they understand it or they don't understand it. But in this field, we don't seek your cramming skills. What we seek is your understanding skills. An ability to apply. So we are basically looking at wisdom. Should they say wisdom is application of knowledge? So that's basically what you'll be doing. Okay, and like I said, feel free to consistently and constantly reference your documentation until you are confident that you can actually type something. All right, that you can actually type without having to reference. That you can more like remember it in your head. It's not about, you don't need to cram all these things in your head all at once. So it's when you just start using it quite often, you understand the flow and how it works. All right, so we've looked at logical operators. So we'll go into functions. All right, so a function is a block of code that performs a particular task. All right, that's what a function is actually. A block of code that performs a particular task. Okay, just like I said, I could give you a task and I'll say write a function that accepts two parameters and returns the product of those two parameters. I just said something. Now what I said is write a function that accepts two inputs, okay, and returns the product of those two inputs. All right, so that will introduce us to function declaration. Now for you to declare normally we've learned how to declare a variable, right? We use let or const, then name of your variable, the equal to sign, and then your value. So we've also looked at a couple of data types, which include strings, objects, arrays, numbers, right? Exactly. So now we are looking at functions. Okay, so look at how you define a function. You use the keyword function space followed by the function name. Okay, now space followed by opening and closing parentheses, space followed by opening and closing curly braces. Look at what I mean. Example, I want to declare a function that adds two numbers. Add, and I will just close it like this. Alright? This is what I did. I used the keyword function, space, name of your function. Yes, that's the variable. You are free to use any name there. Okay, now, this opening and closing parentheses and this opening and closing curly braces. Now watch. You see, this place, this opening and closing curly braces, this is called your block. That's where your block starts from. Your block started from here, and your block, your function block ended here. Alright? Now, this is, remember, you were talking about, I mentioned something like scope before. We talked about function scope, global scope, right? So far, okay, I'm coming to that, but this is what a function looks like. So you start with the keyword function, followed by the name of your function, then opening and closing parentheses, and then opening and closing curly braces. Alright? So this is what a function looks like, and this is what a function does. So like I said, the function is a block of code that performs a particular task, right? So now we want to write a function that performs addition. Okay? So we want to write a function that performs addition. Now, we do that by writing function. I use add. You can as well do addition. Now, I talked about parameters or arguments. Now, when you use, they are the same, they are slightly the same thing. Argument is used for declaring functions. Like when you talk about argument, you are talking about, watch now, look at what I'm going to do. I'll put A, comma B, comma C, comma D, comma E. This thing has 5 arguments. Alright? It has 5 arguments. It has A, B, C, D, E. Alright? They are arguments. There are 5 arguments. Let's just make it concise. Let's say we have A and B. Alright? And now we want to return the product of A and B. The next thing you need to know about a function is a function will always have a return keyword. Alright? A function will always have a return keyword. And that return keyword is where your function ends. Once the computer executes your program and it hits a return statement, it will exit the function. Are we together? Exactly. So you type the keyword return A star B. Alright? And then I can now close my function and hit enter. I've successfully declared a function with 2 arguments, A and B. Alright? Now I can state this, I can make this statement like this. I've successfully declared a function that accepts 2 parameters, A and B. Are we together? Now, okay, look at the arguments of this function are A and B, right? Now, parameters is the actual value this time around, and not the placeholder. That's not the variable. It's just English. Like most times, it's used interchangeably. You get? But what I'm saying is, look at this function addition accepts 2. Look at, I said this function addition accepts 2 parameters. This function addition is declared with 2 arguments. Did you see the statement I made? It was declared with 2 arguments, but it actually accepts 2 what? Parameters. So parameters are those values that you are going to call the function with. Alright? So now, if I do addition 5, 6 to return 30 for me. Now this one of the reasons why we declare functions is because we use them to perform repetitive tasks. Alright? Like it helps you to as this function is now, I can use it to find the addition, the sum of any number in this word. I can do addition 1000 comma to give me the value. All right. I'm even now myself I cause confusion. I used addition. So nice. So this okay. There's always a lesson to learn from every mistake. So the lesson we have to learn here is make sure that your function name is descriptive enough. It tells what your function is actually doing. So by right, I should have done function more as a multiplication, right? Then I'll now do a comma b, and then I will do like return a times b, and then I hit enter. This time around I put parentheses. Now you may be like, okay, I did not put any parentheses here, right? So it's actually correct. In JavaScript, you can just surround an expression with parentheses. It doesn't really change anything. Are we together? Just like when we were doing x greater than y, we put it in parentheses, right? So it doesn't really matter. But then just take note of how you declare a function. You declare a function by writing the keyword function, then mul, that's the name of your function, followed by opening parentheses. Now your arguments, number of arguments you want, then followed by opening curly braces, then closing curly braces. Let's declare a function that increases a value. Let's declare a function that increases a value. How? Let's say let num equal to 5. I want to declare a function that if I pass a parameter to it, it will increase this value, num. All right. Okay. Let's declare a function that will, whenever we call that function, it will increase the value of number by 1. So currently num is equal to 5, right? We want to declare a function that when we call it for the first time, it will add 1 to 5 and it will be 6. So when we call num will become what? 6. When we call that function again, it will add 1 to the existing num. It will become 7. When we call num, it should be 7, right? All right. So let's do that. Let's do function increment. Okay. Now I'm not putting any argument because I don't want to call it. I just want to be increasing by 1. But assuming I want to increase by a certain value, I'll now add an argument to receive that value. Are we together? All right. So now there's something I want to mention. This num has a global scope. What do I mean by a global scope? This variable is declared outside a function, so it is accessible anywhere. All right. I can actually call this num inside this function. But assuming that I declare this num inside this function, I cannot have access to it outside that function. All right. So that is what we talk about, global scope and local scope. Local scope is function scope. All right. Do you have any question? We've not written the logic to increase by 1 yet. All right. Are we together? All right. So look at what I'll do. Num, in fact, I'll do num plus equal 1. That's what I'll do. And then I'll do return num. And then I will just close my function. Let me call this function increment. You just increase my number by 6, right? By 1. It's now 6. Let me call num actually. Do you see that num is 6? Let me call increment again. 7, right? Num 7. So this is just I just gave us a little tips of the iceberg of what logic is about. I said I want to declare a function that increases a variable by 1. Okay? Now, the first thing is, now this stuff I did here, num plus equal 1, is something that I shouldn't have done. Do you get? I took like 2 steps ahead. It's a bit confusing. It's a confusing syntax. But look at what that thing means. Num plus equal 1, num plus equal 1. What it actually means is num equal to num plus 1. What does it mean? It means I am redeclaring num with the previous value of num, and I'm adding 1 to it. Do you get? So instead of repeating that statement, JavaScript was like, this is redundant. So why not just remove this num and put it like this, and it works. Num, plus equal, not equal plus. Did you see? Num plus equal what? 1. So 2. Okay. It started afresh actually. It redeclared. It was this first statement that redeclared the value of num. Are we together? All right. So let's assume we want to be increasing num by a certain number of value. All right. So let's do that. Let's say num now. Num is 2, right? So we'll do function increase by value. We want to increase by a certain value, right? So we accept that value as an argument. Okay, we accept the value as a parameter. Now, what are we going to do? We are going to do num plus equal a. Did you see? Return num, and we'll close. So by default, if I just do increase by value 1, it will just perform. What will we have? It will return 3, right? It will increase by 1 to return 3. Are we confused? Yes, now I just changed that increment to increase by value. Yes, you know, Richard asked a question. He said, this thing now is like your variable name, and that's actually what it is. Okay, like the function, the increment function we declared before. I just used the word increment because we were statically increasing it by 1. But here, this time around, we want to increase it by a certain value. You understand? So that's why I just changed the name to increase by value. And that value I want to increase it by is the parameter a, or the argument a. Okay? So if I call this function again and increase it by 5, okay, by 6, what am I going to have as my result? 9. I'll have 9. Okay? So that's a whole lot to digest. We are going to end here for today. Ask your question. Yes. So that A represents the number, whatever value you are going to add to it. Okay? I said when you declare a function, you call that function. When you are declaring a function, you use the keyword function, right? Space followed by the name of your function, right? Nice. And now, followed by an opening parenthesis, right? Now, inside that parenthesis, you have to declare your arguments, okay? So those arguments can be anything. It can be anything at all, but it has to be a valid variable name. Are we together? So if you want to declare more than one argument, you use comma to separate them, like we did A, comma B. You can have more than one. You can have up to 5 arguments. All right. You use a comma to separate it. You close the parenthesis, then open a curly braces, then write your logic. Use your return to return a value. All right, and then your closing curly braces, and hit enter. That's it. Okay, sir. Instead of A. Yes, you are at liberty to use another alphabet. Like I said, your parameters or your arguments they should be valid variable names. And you know that we've already understood that you cannot use special characters to start a variable name, right? You can the only special character you can use is the what? $sign. Exactly. No, you cannot use a pure number. You can't use a pure number as an argument. No, it's wrong. It has to be a text. It can be a text combined with a number, text combined with an underscore, text combined with anything. All right. So I gave us a task. I said, okay. Yes, a function should always have a return keyword. Yes, what we are returning is num. Now let's do type of what's the name of this? Increase by value. Did you see what it gave us? Number. Why? Because a function is defined by the return type, the type of value it returns. You get? There's what we call void. See now, this function that we declare. Let me remove this return statement here. It doesn't mean that it's not valid though. It's valid. Fine, but let me check the type of this function now. Did you see what it said? Undefined, because it doesn't have a return keyword. Are we together? That function now, it automatically becomes a kind of useless because you can't really assess what is going on here. The only thing we can do inside this function is to console.log num, okay? But we can't actually extract the value of num. All right, so that's why your function should always have a return statement that returns a value. It can be a text, it can be anything. All right, but if you are not expecting to get anything from that function, let's say you are not expecting to extract anything from the function, are we together? Then you can omit the return statement. All right, but if you are expecting to get a value from that your function, so you return that value. All right, so that is it. Okay. All right, so no, I'm not. Okay, it says okay. So we did let num equal to something like this. This is a global scope. All right, so this variable num is declared in a global scope. All right, so let's declare a local variable. I just declared a variable. Okay, let me not confuse us. I will have name. All right, so I just declared the variable name equal to Solomon. That name is declared inside name function, right? Inside the function name underscore function, right? If I try to call this name here, did you see what happened? Look at what it returned for me. It returned for me a function. Like I called the variable console.log name. It's giving me on. Look at what it's giving me. It's giving me this entire stuff. Why? Because the scope. What happened? Alright, so it's even taking me to scope. It's just telling me that that name is not accessible from outside that function. You don't have access to that name variable from outside the function. You only have access to it within the function. Alright, so that is what happened there. But then we can but we can actually console.log that name inside this function. All right. So if I do this, it will print out my name, Solomon. So this variable name has a local scope, meaning that it is declared inside this function. All right. It is not accessible outside the function. That is the implication of the term global and local scope. All right. What do you mean? Okay. Okay, of course. Let's assume we want to declare a function that welcomes you. All right. Let's say it accepts a parameter name. It wants to print a welcome message. All right. So you do like return welcome Mr. Name. This is what I did. If I do welcome and I put Solomon, look at what it will tell me. Welcome Mr. What? Welcome Richard. Welcome Mr. Richard. Did you see? It accepted the argument name or the parameter name, and it's printing it out here for us by concatenating it with this existing text here. Welcome Mr. plus my name. Alright, so do you have any other questions? No, there's no site. It's just Chrome. When you the site, how do you mean site now? Okay, is that what you mean? Look at what we did here. We open something like this, and you right click and click on inspect. Did you see? You click on inspect, then you click on console. Alright, so you see a lot of stuff. Just press clear, then you can now start huh? Yes, you click enter. You should clear. You should definitely clear your console as long as the brackets are there. Alright, so we are done. In a bid to practice this stuff that we've all learned today, so please take down your assignment. Okay, take down your practice exercise, something you use The thing is, I've said a lot of things and you watched me type all those things. You've not typed it by yourself. So what I'm about giving you is so that you can actually do it yourself and understand how it works. That's the only way you can actually understand. So the first assignment is declare a variable of the type string, number, array, and object. Declare variables of the type string, number. Declare variables of the type string, number, array, and object. Alright? Did anybody not understand what I just said? I'm simply asking you to do those first things I did when I first started off, right? Declare variables, choose anything. Okay, so that is that. Now, for the array, add 3 more items to the array. Add 3 more items of your choice to the array using the push. Alright, so that's number 1. Number 2, write an expression using the arithmetic operators, comparison operators, and logical operators. Write a JavaScript expression using the arithmetic operators, comparison operators, and logical operators. Write a JavaScript expression using arithmetic operators, comparison operators, and logical operators. What that statement means is, let's assume you want to write a JavaScript expression using an arithmetic operator. You can actually do something like let x equal to 5 times y, 5 times 3, or let x equal to y times z. Is an expression, you understand, and you have made use of. For now, when I mean arithmetic operators, I mean all the arithmetic operators that we learned: plus, minus, times, division, and modulus. So you can see them there now: plus, minus, multiplication, division, and modulus. Also, write an expression using the comparison operators. All these operators: equal to, triple, equal to, not equal, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. You are writing an expression using all these operators. And also write an expression using the logical operators. Exclamation equal to, not equal to simply means not. If you do x, let's say if you do 5 not equal 7, what will it return to you? True, right? X is not 5 is not equal to 7. That's the meaning of that not equal. You get? One of the reasons why you want to use that stuff is, let's say you want to accept an input from a user, and actually you want to accept, let's say a number, right? You want to accept only a number from that user. Are we together? Now, that user may want to do 10 times 10 and go and type for you 10, ten, times 10, 10. Now, you want to check if the type of that thing that you are getting is not a number. Do you see the implication? Just bounce it back. Tell the person invalid input. Do you understand? That's the meaning of that not equal. Exactly. So that's the implication. Okay. So finally, write a function that performs addition 1, write a function that performs subtraction 2, write a function that performs multiplication 3, and write a function that performs a square 4. Write a function that performs addition, write a function that performs subtraction, write a function that performs multiplication, and a function that performs square. Like, not square root to square. You know, square root is different from square. Yes, no. Square root of 4 is what? 2. Square of 2 is what? 4. So that's all for the assignment. I need someone to summarize this assignment and post it in the group now before leaving here. I'm expecting to see your result by tomorrow. Did I not do 4 star 2? So when you want to write that kind of a statement, you just accept the value. Let's say A. You get inside A, you return A star 2. It has automatically done that. Do you understand? Please, I expect to see these things by tomorrow. It is after tomorrow's class that I will release this material for us. So if you are confused, the internet is your best friend. Google is your best friend. Google it out. Try to understand the statement first and try to solve it. Okay? If you try and it doesn't work, then you can Google. Don't just go straight and Google. This is more like training your brain to really understand instructions and perform logical actions or logical expression. That is software development for you. So it can be a little bit intimidating, but with time you will definitely master it because it's actually interesting by the time you get your desired result. Alright, so that will be the end of today's class. Thank you very much for your audience. It can print out how many times? 10 times, right? I would have told you guys. I haven't thought. No, not alert. This time I'm talking about console, like, right? So assuming I've taught us, assuming I managed to teach us this loop now, okay? Assuming I managed to teach us this loop, this is what we will actually use. You see this statement now is the answer to that question. If I copy this thing and take it to this my console, watch. And instead of console.log I'll just do console.log happy Valentine. It's going to print that in 5 times for me. Did you see? Printed it 5 times. That's the number 5 here. It actually printed it 5 times. Happy Valentine, happy Valentine, happy Valentine. Now you are talking about alert. Assuming I use the keyword alert, let's see. Let's just put it in a function. Okay. So it doesn't want to use the alert function here. But then this is just how you do it. You use a loop. We have tomorrow we'll look into loops. Tomorrow we are going to look at this concept, loops, arrays and objects more in details. We've looked at it a little bit. Then we'll now declare a method inside an object. Now this is an instance. Then we'll now look at DOM manipulations and events. That is the end of JavaScript for us. We will not waste so much time on JavaScript. We will do more programming in Python than in JavaScript. We will just use JavaScript. Now because we just have, after this week, we only have 3 weeks more. We are going to use 3 weeks to write Python. 3 weeks consistently you'll be writing Python. This week is only for JavaScript. So that is why I kept it very basic like this. Okay. So tomorrow we'll look at loops and then object methods and DOM manipulation, and we'll be done with JavaScript. It's because I used 5 now. I did 5 here. I did 5. If you do 10, it will print out 10 for you. If you do 4, let I equal to 0, I less than 10. Okay? I plus plus console.log happy Valentine, and you close it. What's going on? The thing I'm hitting enter, it doesn't want. Let me go to another console, please. Let me go to a different console. Sir? No, you don't need a let here. This is a for loop. Okay. Did you see? Printed 10. Happy Valentine. Alright. It will display it. If you do it on your own, it will display it like that. It's only trying to like optimize space. This thing is just telling you that this thing, the number of times it printed it is 10. Alright? So there is no point printing it out one after the other, since it's just the same thing. Do you understand? But if it were something that changed, it will print it out. It's not just one thing that it's printing out. You get. All right. So please, let's not ask any more questions so that we don't get further overwhelmed. Just do those assignments. Please make sure you do them. It's important. The reason why I'm giving us these assignments like this is so that we can be able to cover up what we are supposed to cover up in these 6 weeks. All right. So thank you very much for today. God bless you and see you tomorrow. Oh, see the alert, sir. The alert is even here, and I was looking for it. Happy Valentine 1, Happy Valentine 2, Happy Valentine 3, Happy Valentine 4, Happy Valentine 5. That's gone out. Did you see? Alpha. Hello? Hey, Mao.